Pokémon Legends ZA was revealed on February 27th, 2024, and will be our next entry into the mainline series for Pokémon. This reveal shocked the world. Pokémon fans across the globe were so surprised that this was going to be the next Pokémon game that we were receiving. So much excitement, so much hype, and now we have nothing. It has almost been an entire year since the reveal of Pokémon Legends ZA, and we have gotten absolutely zero information about the game. This, of course, has left many Pokémon fans out there upset that we haven't gotten any news, any updates. We don't know what to expect. We don't even have a release date, so we're not quite sure when this game exactly is going to be coming. But with the recent announcement of the Nintendo Switch 2, a lot of fans are also believing that now would be the time for them to announce it. Just speaking for myself, though, I'm choosing to take this as a positive thing for the direction of the Pokémon series. For the last couple years, a lot of Pokémon fans have felt that the latest entries into the Pokémon series, such as Pokémon Scarlet and Violet as the largest example, have felt a little bit rushed and unfinished. So I feel like spending more time on a game like Legends ZA that has so much excitement around it is probably the best thing to do. I'm also saying this because I'm currently in the drought of information about Kingdom Hearts 4, so it's not like I'm not used to the wait at this point. I wanted to make this video today to not only discuss why it might be taking a little longer for Pokémon Legends ZA to release, but also what we can possibly expect from this game that has become this big mystery in the Pokemon community. But before we go ahead and dive back into the Kalos region, make sure to go down below and hit that like button, and make sure you are subscribed to the channel to keep up to date of all the Pokemon content here, because you know for a fact as soon as any information comes out, you know I'm gonna make a video on it. According to the wiki for Pokemon Legends ZA, the only information that we have about a possible plot or setting for this game is that it will take place in the Kalos region, which was first introduced in the games Pokemon X and Y in 2013. According to the trailer, it's going to be set in an urban redevelopment project of Lumio City, with Nintendo stating that it's going to take place entirely within the city. This in itself is just such a curious thing to me, because this entire game is going to be set within the confines of Lumio City, which you would think would be extremely limiting, but I think with how large in scale they attempt and hope to make Lumio City in this game, I think there's going to be a lot more to do than a lot of players may expect. As the player character in Pokemon Legends ZA, I assume there's going to be a lot of different areas within Lumio City that will be able to capture Pokemon, such as the sewers, the water that's going throughout town, maybe even inside alleyways next to the buildings. Think the Castelia sewers, for example. I have also seen some theories out there that a lot of people are thinking that Lumio City is just going to be like Jubilife Village, and that it is going to serve as a central hub for us as we can go out and explore other areas of the Kalos region, but I think we can expect to mainly stay in Lumio City. Are there just going to be wild Pokemon roaming the streets that are attacking people? Is that what we're solving? Is that the redevelopment plan? I doubt it, but it would be interesting to see nonetheless. I think if we were to keep the catching style and mechanics from Pokemon Legends Arceus and re-implement them in Pokemon Legends ZA, it would be very interesting just because of the change of scenery and the change of setting. Speaking of the threat of Pokemon being around, this was introduced to us as one of the main things about Pokemon Legends Arceus was the threat of Pokemon, that they were dangerous. It was kind of scary to be around them, and a lot of people had a fear of even being around Pokemon or having them in the village. This concept is where I personally believe, as well as many other Pokemon fans believe, is where the Mega Evolutions are going to come in. Mega Evolution and Mega Pokemon have been confirmed to be returning in Pokemon Legends ZA, and I am ecstatic, as well as so many other people are ecstatic. This is amazing. This is the first time we have seen a gimmick from a Pokemon game make a triumphant return like this. I believe that where Mega Pokemon are going to appear and thrive in this game's storyline is where the Alpha Pokemon would be in Pokemon Legends Arceus. There instead is going to be a possible new Mega Pokemon to take its place. But why are these Mega Pokemon going against us potentially? What reason would there possibly be for them to battle us and to fight us? Well, I think the reason for that would lie in the main central story of the game. Just as Arceus had ties to the Alpha Pokemon in Pokemon Legends Arceus, I believe in Pokemon Legends ZA there's going to be a very different reason that is also tied to another legendary Pokemon that would cause these Mega Pokemon to go against us. Let's go ahead and talk about the superstar themselves, the reason for the season, the Pokemon that we have been talking about getting a game for the longest time, and now they're finally getting it. Let's talk about Zygarde. You want to talk patience? You want to talk waiting around for something to happen? You want to talk about you finally getting your moment to shine? Let's talk about Zygarde, how Zygarde has been waiting a super freaking long time for anyone to acknowledge that something is going on with it. Rumors of Pokemon Z were going around for years. People were disappointed that we didn't get a Pokemon Z and felt that Zygarde was kind of just tossed to the wayside. We never really talked about it. It was just weirdly in Pokemon Sun and Moon, and that was that. No longer! Zygarde's moment has finally come, and this is Zygarde's time to shine. And I feel that the storyline is, of course, going to mainly center around Zygarde. With, of course, all the Mega Pokemon that we will potentially be battling having their cause be Zygarde. Now, what do I mean by this? And to answer that question, we need to go to Zygarde's Pokédex entry. Both its entry in X and Y would give reason for why Zygarde would possibly want to interfere with the Lumiose redevelopment project. Its Pokemon X entry says, when the Kalos region's ecosystem falls into disarray, it appears and reveals its secret power. And its Pokemon Y entry says, it's hypothesized that it's monitoring those who destroy the ecosystem from deep in the cave where it lives. Y'all, I am not trying to sound like Billie Eilish, but I think we're the bad guy. What these Pokédex entries have told me, as well as many others who are theorizing about the plotline of this game, is that the Lumiose redevelopment plan may be not good at all for the Kalos region's ecosystem, which may force Zygarde to get involved. I mean, I'm sure it's no secret that building an entire city, or even just redesigning an entire city, would take a lot of work and a lot of possible destruction to things around it. One of those things being affected, of course, being the ecosystem of Pokemon living in the area. Of course, this is just a theory. A game theory. Okay, let me stop. But with no news for Pokemon Legends ZA, what else are us Pokemon fans supposed to do? We're sitting around and we're hypothesizing about what this game could possibly be about. So, you know, I'm looking at these Pokédex entries and I'm thinking that this completely sounds plausible to what might be going on in this game. Now that we've spoken about the potential plotline of Pokemon Legends ZA, I want to talk about just some little things that we can come to expect potentially from this game. In terms of the Pokemon that are going to be featured in this game's dex, I found this lovely photo that was compiled from someone online where it features all the Pokemon that were in the trailer for the game, so we can come to expect that all of these Pokemon will be featured in the game, as well as their evolutions of the Pokemon we saw. Other Pokemon that I think are a pretty safe bet to assume would be in this game is any Pokemon that was in the Kalos Pokedex, as well as any Pokemon that has a previously made Mega Evolution. But here comes the exciting part. As we got with Pokemon Legends Arceus, I believe we are going to get a handful of new regional variants, which I am very excited for. Always very exciting to see new regional variants for every Pokemon game, and honestly, they've become a staple for me to where I look forward to seeing which Pokemon are going to get them in every entry. I also am pretty sure we can come to expect that new Mega Evolutions are going to come about for some Pokemon as well. I mean, I'm pretty sure this is one of the largest things that people are anticipating. Of course, there are a ton of Pokemon that I personally would love to see get some attention, either that be through a Mega Evolution or regional variant, such as Trevenant or Grumpig or Ledian. There's so many to choose from. But I think there are two Pokemon in specific that a lot of people may not be thinking they are probably going to get either a new form or a Mega Evolution. That being Xerneas and Yveltal. Dialga and Palkia got new forms, so why can't they? I just assume that this is going to be something that happens. I think that many people would not be shocked if this were to come about. I can only hope that I visually enjoy these forms a lot more than I did the origin forms for Dialga and Palkia. Do y'all remember when those forms first came out and everybody was kind of dying and the memes were coming out and it looked like Dialga had something stuck in its throat and Palkia just looked like a horse? Like, do y'all remember that? That was a time. That was a moment. Aside from the Pokemon that are going to be in the game, we're going to have more characters introduced to us. And what Pokemon Legends Arceus introduced that I would love for them to keep is that there's going to be a lot of ancestors to characters that we already know. That was just really fun to see and trying to guess like who their ancestor was, what character they were related to. But there's one character in specific that I think needs to be in this game. In Pokemon Legends Arceus, we were not the only character that was brought throughout time. There was also a certain train conductor from Generation 5 that was brought in by Arceus that had this really sad storyline of being ripped from his own time period and not really remembering a lot from where he came from. That being Ingo. We never really received a conclusion to Ingo's storyline. Does he just stay in the Legends Arceus time period? Does Arceus ever send him home? Like, what happens with Ingo? Like, it's just this tragic storyline that's happening in the background. I got emotionally invested, and now I don't know what's going on. So what I think needs to continue into Pokemon Legends ZA is Emmett needs to be there. Can you just imagine, like, picture it, the drama of Emmett being there looking for Ingo? How sad would that be? Like, I know I'd be crying actual tears if that were to happen, but I think if you're gonna introduce this to where Ingo got ripped throughout time and no one knows where he is, I think his partner, his literal other half, needs to be there looking for him. I don't know, maybe that's just me, but I personally would love to see that happen. As for game mechanics that I would love to see return from Pokemon Legends Arceus into ZA, I think that the crafting mechanic really should stick around. I enjoyed the crafting so freaking much, and I think that it was a really good system that they had of the higher level that you get, the more items you can craft. Also, I hope and pray that we are keeping customization, because that is one of my favorite things about modern Pokemon, is that you are able to customize your trainer to make them look exactly how you would like them to look, and I think for so many players out there that just having this customization feature is really, really nice to have. When it comes to the battling mechanics that are going to be in Pokemon Legends ZA, I hope that they are a little different and a little tweaked from Legends Arceus. I personally was not a massive fan of the turn system and the strong style and the agile style. It wasn't my favorite Pokemon battling mechanic or way to do battle, but I think that if they do a little bit of tweaking, it could be something that I would enjoy a little bit more. But something in the battling system that I hope they absolutely keep is the fact that our trainer is in danger in the outside world. The dodge roll, the diving for your life, the fear in your eyes. I would like to keep that. I think that that needs to be a core gimmick and core thing going on in the Pokemon Legends series. Like, I think that is one of the things that makes the series what it is. It's not your typical Pokemon gaming experience. It is something different. And I think that that looming fear of a Pokemon attacking even your trainer should stick around. On to our last topic of today's video that I want to talk about, which is going to be the central hub itself. Let's talk about Lumio City itself. Other than catching Pokemon, what can we come to expect from Lumio City being our central hub? What I anticipate possibly happening is that as we progress the game and as we do more things, as we capture more Pokemon, as we complete more side quests and objectives, that more shops and stores and things to do will open up, very similarly to Pokemon Legends Arceus. I mean, we are kind of building an entire city here, so I would anticipate that the more construction and the more work that gets done, the more features there are available to the player to use. I want to see Lumio City just as it was in Pokemon X and Y, even more so potentially. I want to see streets lined with stores and shops and fashion places, boutiques, cafes, restaurants, places to buy Pokemon items. I can just see it now, and I think that there is so much space for opportunity. With a city as large as Lumio City, the possibilities are kind of endless. I, as well as many others out there, cannot wait for the release of Pokemon Legends ZA and await any kind of crumbs of information that we could possibly receive, and I think that 2025 is going to be the year. I believe we are going to get some kind of information this year. As always, let me know down in the comment section below your thoughts on today's video and all the things that I discussed of what we could potentially expect in Pokemon Legends ZA. Y'all know that I love hearing from you, and I would love to hear if y'all agree with any of the things that I think that we're gonna expect in Pokemon Legends ZA, but I would also love to know what would you like to see and expect in Pokemon Legends ZA. I mean, this game is pretty much a big mystery for us to solve right now, so none of us really know what to expect other than a couple theories here and there. Like, I want to get several detectives on the case to find out what is going on with this game. Like, I'm gonna get Yuma Coco Head, Phoenix Wright, Mystery Incorporated Scooby-Doo himself, because this mystery needs to be solved. But who knows? Maybe we'll hear something about it sometime soon.